Gold participants from around the world. I'm Fleur Bickford, Program Director and MC for Gold Lactation. I'm chatting today with Rosann Edwards about her upcoming presentation titled The Breastfeeding Practices of Young Mothers Who Have Lived in a Maternity Shelter, a Qualitative Interpretive Description Study. So Rosann, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So we're really looking forward to hearing more about your presentation, but to start with, maybe you can tell us just a little bit about yourself and your professional journey.
Okay. Well, let me see. I'm a public health nurse. I work with Ottawa Public Health with the Healthy Babies, Healthy Children's program. And what we do is we're a home visiting program with at-risk families and at-risk mothers. So we focus on things like parenting, breastfeeding, and basically all around empowering families in the community. Now, as far as my professional journey, I started off working in hospital. So I do have a background in mother baby, a little bit in labor and delivery. Um, but I have to admit, as a nursing student, I worked for the VON and I really fell in love with being out in the community. And when I had the opportunity to do both mother-child and be in the community and doing home visits, I made the jump to public health fairly quickly. And I've been there for the past 9 years now. I'm also a lactation consultant, and a huge part of what we do is breastfeeding support. So I feel really privileged to be able to work with mothers in that capacity as well. And really, this study grew out of working with young mothers over the years who really amazing young women who really overcame incredible obstacles. And I was really curious to know more about their experiences with nurses and their experiences with breastfeeding.
Okay, thank you. And I love that you're able to, that you have been able to combine that love of being in the community and working with the moms and babies. It's,
It it
that's a
really is a
wonderful thing.
it really is a privilege, and we see, because Ottawa is so multicultural, we see families from all around the world. So it really has been a privilege over the years.
That's wonderful. So this year for our Gold Lactation 2016 conference, we are excited to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. And one of the things that I've been asking some of our speakers during these interviews is, what is the biggest change that you've seen during your career when it comes to breastfeeding? What's like the biggest change over the years, and maybe what's one thing that you feel has stayed the same over the years?
Ah, that's a tricky one. I mean, what has stayed the same over the years, of course, is moms and babies. And breastfeeding itself has stayed the same, the relationship. I think the biggest change we've seen is women's commitment to breastfeeding. They're wanting to succeed at breastfeeding. Breastfeeding rates in Ottawa are very, very high at hospital discharge. And most mothers are coming home from hospital breastfeeding, and they're really actively seeking support in a way that, maybe 9, 10 years ago they were, but not in the same numbers. So I would say that's the biggest change. So there's been a real cultural shift, which is really nice to see.
It is for sure. So now maybe we could talk a little bit about your presentation. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of a sneak peek into
Ah,
some of the, no, I'm not going to say the highlights because we don't want to give anything away, but
ah.
maybe you can just tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about and what you hope that delegates will be able to take away from your presentation.
Sure. So I'm going to be talking about a study that I did as part of my when I was working on my master's at the University of Ottawa, and it was a qualitative study, so meaning that I went and talked to mothers, and it was young mothers in Ottawa who had or were living in a local maternity shelter. So this is a residential shelter for pregnant and parenting young women, homeless women under the age of 24, so anywhere from about 13 to 24 years of age. Um, and really, the highlights of the study, what really came out of it was the empowerment that these young women felt with breastfeeding, how really solid it helped them feel as a mother and in their mothering practices, and also on the nursing end, how important the early nursing supports were. So, how key the therapeutic relationship was, and how positively these young women experienced the supports, how positively they took away the messages from the nurses if a therapeutic relationship was established. And of course, the opposite was also true. If the nurses were not able to connect with the young moms on sort of both a personal and professional level, they really weren't able to get the messages across to provide the supports. So that's kind of the highlights of it, so to speak.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about it, and I think it's such a wonderful thing, the fact that you've been looking at this because, those young mothers are already facing so many challenges just through the fact that they're, as young as they are, and
Oh, for
if we can make that positive impact with the breastfeeding, I think that's, probably huge in terms of helping these moms with, the challenges that they're facing.
And these moms are facing huge challenges, everything from, economic, sociocultural issues like homeless and food security. So they have huge, huge mountains to overcome, and it's one of those things that builds their confidence for the
Mhm.
moms in this study and really help them feel confident in other areas too.
What a wonderful thing. That's fantastic. So, really looking forward to your presentation. So, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
That's great. Thank you, Fleur.
So, for our delegates who are listening, you will be able to hear more from Rosann on her live presentation day, which is Tuesday, May 3rd at 2100 UTC, when she will be presenting on the breastfeeding practices of young mothers who have lived in a maternity shelter, a qualitative interpretive description study. So thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, May 3rd. Bye for now, everyone.